Live from JMT Studios, it's time for Two Jersey Kids, the best video game podcast on the planet.
There's something in your heart, and this in your eyes is the fire.
What is up, everybody? This is episode 40 of Two Jersey Kids, the video game podcast that is two dickheads just spewing their thoughts about video games. We release every Tuesday and Friday. Unfortunately, we didn't have a Tuesday episode this past week because Gary was feeling ill, and it was also Memorial Day, so we kind of wanted to relax. But I am your host of this car crash this evening, Adam Buckingham, alongside my best friend, the best stick handler in the business, Gary Seisel. How you doing today, Gary?
Well, for starters, I'm feeling a lot better than I was this past weekend. I was bedridden, so I'm really happy to be back here again. It kind of feels weird only doing one episode in a week. I'm so used to just doing that 2-episode
Yeah, we were
schedule.
in a groove.
So yeah, so it's good to be back though. I'm feeling a lot better now.
Even though you're
Thank
kind of
God.
hypocritical because every time we do a Tuesday episode, you're like, "Oh, this feels weird. I'm not used to it because of the interviews."
Well, that's true. No, we had that we had that spurt of interviews, but yeah, it does still feels weird though only doing one episode though.
It does.
So.
It does. I agree. I concur because normally when it's me doing it's an interview episode, it's me doing the interview 9 times out of 10. So yeah it's strange. But yeah, this is Two Jersey Kids. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at Two Jersey Kids. And if you are a new listener that somehow came across our podcast, we appreciate you so much. I hope you stick to the end. If you're a continued listener, we appreciate you so much. We love you all. Gary, before we get into the news this week, what have you been up to? What's been going on? I know you said you were sick. Did you drink too many booze? Too much vodka going down the gullet?
No, unfortunately, it was actually a stomach virus.
Ouch.
And I woke up on. Well, what was interesting is I woke up. What was it? Saturday night. I had a few drinks. Nothing crazy. Like a couple beers, and the next day I woke up and I was really nauseous, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, there's no way I drank. I'm this much of a lightweight. Like, I mean, granted, I haven't been drinking as much recently, but there's no way my tolerance is just that gone. So I woke up and I felt so terrible, and then, I threw up, like, I don't know, twice.
Did you eat anything raw or something
Nah.
when you went out?
Well, my dad was sick like a week ago, but nothing like this, though. I mean, I was, like, violently ill. I was so sick. It was terrible.
Did it affect you on both ends, say the least?
No, just vomiting. But I was so nauseous that I couldn't. Standing up, laying down, nothing mattered. I felt like I was getting the spins when you're hammered, but it was like 8 hours of it. It was so terrible.
So it fucks with your equilibrium?
Oh my God. I was in my own personal version of hell. I think at one point I kind of just wish I was like dead because I just didn't have to deal with it anymore.
Oh my God.
It was pretty terrible.
Yeah, it sounds rough. It sounds like you didn't even. It sounds like you had like basically you were just super drunk that night, puking all your guts, but yet you weren't even drunk, so you didn't even have the benefit of the previous hours before of the fun time that was.
It was the worst. I haven't felt honestly that bad probably in my life, and I could confidently say that.
I remember I had something like that with like a stomach bug, and I just couldn't get anything down. I was just so nauseous and everything that I couldn't even get down like a spoonful of Gatorade. It would come back up, and I had to go to a doctor, and I don't forget what they said, but they just gave me a shot right in the ass, and I was like 10 times better.
Well, that's the thing. Like the last time this happened to me, I had a stomach virus a few years ago, and I actually went to the hospital that night because I didn't know what was going on. I thought it might have been food poisoning, but I mean they put an IV in me, so I was getting hydrated and also getting medicine for my nausea. So I didn't have like. As soon as I was there, I was fine. But this time, I knew it was a stomach virus, and I had to just like lay there and just suck it up. So I mean,
deal with it.
I'm like sipping water. At one point, I had like rice checks, and then I threw up again. That was great. But yeah, I guess it was around like 10 o'clock at night. Suddenly, I woke up after like a few hours of sleep, and I felt like my nausea was completely gone. I felt like really good, or better anyway.
Really good.
So it was, it was a long road, or it was. It sucked. It sucked, people. But anyway, that's my weekend. That was my great, awesome weekend.
You guys didn't know this is the Stomach Virus podcast. We release every Friday talking about how stomach viruses affect you.
Yeah, we're doctors. I hope your weekend was a lot better, Adam.
It was. It was drastically better than that. We ended up going to me and Marto ended up taking a drive to Shenandoah National Park. I believe that's what it's called in Virginia. It's called, there's a road that it's like a 3-hour drive, 100 miles, basically just driving through the park with a bunch of overlooks that you can stop at and take pictures. I took pictures. I posted them on my Twitter page. It was a Skyline Drive. It was beautiful. First day, Sunday, we got there. We were trying to drive through it. Got there around like 12-ish. We got through a first few, 10 miles, and then all of a sudden the storm just came, and it was coming down like no one's business. And of course, the worst thing, it wasn't even the rain that was bad. We were so high up, it started getting foggy, so I couldn't see shit on this windy road. Thankfully, there's multiple exits off at certain intervals. Not multiple, but there's 3. So we were able to get off the first one, so we didn't go too far. We ended up going to the bread and breakfast that we were going to stay the night at. Got some dinner, which it's difficult being at a place you don't know, trying to find dinner that fits with what you're trying to eat. You're have to be picky. You're I don't want, can you take off the rice and the beans? I don't really want that. So yeah, we had that. And then the next morning, we just hung out at the bed and breakfast, read while the rain was coming down. It was pretty nice. It was a cute little bed and breakfast out in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Then we went the next morning. We checked out, had a solid breakfast. Oh, it was fantastic. And we it was like a happenstance type of thing. I looked over when we were walking out on there was this dresser on the top. There was only 5 rooms, and this dresser were little pamphlets of what to do in the area, and it's little nowhere place. Actually, it's not nowhere, but it has JMU, the college, right next to it. But during the summer, it's a dead town because there's no college students there. So we pick up we were looking through the pamphlet, and I saw something, oh, this looks cool. It's like a book fair, where they say it's 90%, 60 to 90% off good new books. I'm okay. I was all right, well, Marta, we can just go check it out just for shits and gigs. You never know. Before we went back to drive the whole park again, we went to this book fair. It was 30 minutes out of the way. Didn't think nothing of it. It was kind of a warehouse looking thing. We walk in, and the fucking thing, it's 2 buildings, books galore. We start walking around, and there's new books, new recent books that came out. Fucking $3 to $4 when the price tag on the back is $25. I'm oh my god, we hit the jackpot, Marta. We ended up walking out each with 7 books. All different types. 7 books, paying roughly around $30. And
nice.
some of the books, she got 2 cookbooks. Those books themselves, if you bought them just in a normal store like Barnes and Noble, would have been $30 easy. And then we got them for $30 total for 7. Fucking great. Better than Amazon.
What kind of books do you buy?
What kind of books did I buy? I can go run and grab them for you if you want. But it's all different types. Recently I've been in the kick of not reading any fiction novels, even though I do sort of miss it. So I'm going to try to blend it in back and forth of what what I want to read. So an example book is called Contagious. It shows you why certain things catch on in the social media zeitgeist, that is what causes that certain things based on studies. I bought more history books. I bought a book called Prize Fight. I think it's about the behind the scenes of scientists trying to become the first, and sometimes how the issues behind that happens. I bought a book on the Wright brothers and their journey. And there's multiple other ones. I can run and get them, but I don't remember off the top of my head just because there is, I bought a decent amount. I wanted to look because the Dark Tower movie is coming out soon with Idris Elba, a Stephen King book, and I wanted to check it out. It was I thought it was going to be in the sci-fi or fantasy section. I couldn't find it, but I tried the sci-fi section, and I walked by. There was this one older lady and this one older guy. Me and Marta walked to that section. Oh my god, it smelled like somebody crapped their pants. And it just made the section just unbearable. I could not stay there. I was physically nauseous. I felt like I was going to vomit with how bad it smelled. I was oh my god. And I couldn't just picture the smell when I walked away, when it smelled perfectly fine again. I could picture it in my nose, and I could smell it. Just the memories of the smell still made me nauseous. I could But yeah, that was, and then we went to the park. It was beautiful again. It was nicer around.
Not smelling terribly.
Yeah, it was a great day. Honestly, it was a fantastic Monday, a Memorial Day that we celebrated together. It was nice.
Cool.
And then on the drive back. Sorry, I'm rambling. I'm not really rambling. I'm telling my life experiences. If you don't expect this is Two Jersey Kids, people, deal with it. But yeah, on the drive back, we were just starving because we never ate anything for lunch. We just had like apples to eat while we're driving, and on the road, there's no food stand on the side of the road. It's just straight road with scenic routes. So on the drive back, we finally hit basically life, like with shopping centers and everything. Stopped at this place called Sam's Smokehouse or something in like this town center looking thing. Got a junior meat platter with a bunch of, it was like smoked brisket,
that sounds
ribs,
amazing. Yes.
Pulled pork, chicken,
yes,
two
sir.
sides for $25. Me and Marta gorged, and it was glorious. Had so much protein in our system. It was awesome. Felt fantastic afterwards. Killed it.
There is nothing. You ever been to Mission Barbecue? That
Yes,
is like
I have.
my dream place. It's amazing. Just amazing.
You want to, besides Two Jersey Kids becoming your job, you want to own a Mission Barbecue franchise?
Sure, what the hell? We'll do a Mission Barbecue podcast too. We'll just
Yeah.
talk about great comfort food.
That reminds me. I know some of my friends started their own like podcast or website. So it's called A View from the Drive-Thru, which is a play on like an old podcast they did back in college about like sports. But they go to different drive-through like fast food places and review like the burgers and like the specialty foods. So go search it if you want to check that out. I'd actually never listened to their podcast specifically. I think it's on SoundCloud. I don't know what exactly they talk about besides fast food. So yeah, maybe check it out, maybe not. But they do reviews on. Then they're pretty lengthy reviews, shockingly, on fast food. So check it out. But yeah, Gary. And that is enough for me. I mean, I played the Surge, but I mean, I've talked enough about the Surge. It still got the hooks in me. I'm excited for other games in the future, which we'll be talking about, especially the PS Plus games that are coming. But yeah, now it's time for your segment that you remembered again. That's great. It's brought to you by Gatorade. It's This Week in Gaming History. I know you're excited.
And shout out to Moby Games for making this possible once again. And by the way, I have remembered for several weeks, probably months now.
It's only because you effed up the first 2 times, and I will never let you live it down.
Well, yeah, it was new. It was out of the flow, out of the norm. Now it's the norm. I'm ready to go. But the first game that we have on here is everybody's favorite. Halo 2 was released on Windows back in 2007.
I didn't even when you put this on here, I didn't even know that Halo 2 came out for Windows. I thought the big thing was, Halo on Xbox, but
yeah. I mean, well, first of all, it kind of came out for Windows Vista.
So there it is.
That could be part of the problem there. As everyone knows, that operating system wasn't really the best. So that might be why not a lot of people played it. I don't know. But the second game I have on here is A Bug's Life, released on Game Boy Color in 1999. Now, I include this game because I remember having it on Game Boy. It's just a random thing. This is the last game I expected to actually talk about on this podcast.
Solid movie, though.
Yeah, actually, I saw that in theaters. I think I saw it.
Underrated Pixar movie.
Yeah, I think I saw it in 3D, actually. Maybe in Disney, back when I was...
about Avatar? But I don't remember Bug's Life in 3D.
I mean, it was a long time ago here. I was like 5? I don't even know how old I was. But yeah, I saw it in theaters back in Disney. But yeah, I played this game very little, and that was warranted. Apparently, it was rated a 3 out of 10 by
good choice.
By some gaming site. So it was pretty terrible. Last but not least, I have Medal of Honor Frontlines, released on I guess PlayStation 2. Was PlayStation 2? I guess it was just PlayStation. I'm not sure, but released back in 2002. And
I think that
this
would be PS2.
game. What's up?
I think that would be PS2. PlayStation released around 2000, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it came out for PC or not, but yeah, I mean, I remember playing this game a lot back in the day. It's probably one of my earlier war game memories. I just remember playing the D-Day mission all the time. It's kind of like I think they kind of ripped off Saving Private Ryan. It was kind of like the same type of a lot of the same elements of the beginning scene of Saving Private Ryan were kind of in this game, and it was a lot of fun. Well, fun in a way.
This is my first introduction, I believe, into first-person shooters, if I'm correct. If I remember correctly, this was my first actual first-person shooter, and I remember specifically because I was young and new at this. I stayed on the beach for the longest time, not knowing where to go, and just started shooting at the machine gunners up top, trying to take them all out, and they just kept coming. I'm like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, you ever realize how, I feel like our play times of these games were drastically longer than they would be today because of the stuff. Like, you would just do random shit when you were a kid. You wouldn't really pay attention to any of the missions or like what you were supposed to be doing half the time.
I just had a memory pop into the front of my brain about. I remember I was in awe of the fact that if you shot somebody in the helmet, their helmet would fly off in this game. Yeah. And I would just run around trying to do that, find people with helmets, and just keep doing that because I thought I was fascinated by that as a little kid.
Yeah. Yeah, Medal of Honor was like I had the first Medal of Honor on PlayStation. That was like my first war game that I ever owned. But this game, I just remember playing this game so much. And honestly, I think this was like the last time Medal of Honor was really relevant. I mean, I remember they had, was it Rising Sun, I think, released after this. That was like the war on the Pacific front. And that was, I mean, I enjoyed that game too. I know some people, it was kind of like a more mixed feelings towards that game. I know Frontlines was more of a popular game, but it was like, I just feel like Medal of Honor kind of just disappeared. I mean, they had some games after that.
They try to bring it back in the more modern style, like the Call of Duty style. Shot the bed.
Yeah, it just didn't work. Yeah, it's really strange. It's kind of disappointing. I mean, it was a great franchise back in the day, but time marches on. You got to deal with it. So that is it for This Week in Gaming. Now, I say we get into the news. Adam, take the wheel again.
I mean, we are 6 minutes and 36 seconds into the podcast, and we're now getting on to the news, ladies and gentlemen. I know that's what you came here for. Actually, you came here for us, so if we want to keep talking, we will. Just kidding. We'll get into the news. Starting off, there's a rumor going around. Super Mario Odyssey is arriving in November as Nintendo increases Switch production. Chris Carter over at Destructoid writes, 3D Mario platformers tend to have a sterling reputation. And they say outside maybe the contentious Sunshine, I stand by my decision, underrated games way back when, that Sunshine is actually a really good game and people are just giving it a shit. So folks are understandably excited for Super Mario Odyssey. The thing is, it doesn't have a release date outside of the fourth quarter of 2017, but a recent report might hint at what's to come next. Oh, is that my phone?
Yes,
what
is
is happening? Oh, sorry, people. My phone is far away. It's my work phone, and I forgot to silence it. I am sorry. By way of the same sources that spoke to the Financial Times regarding Nintendo's... Shit! I gotta... motherfucker, Gary! Finish reading!
My article isn't up, damn it. Okay, here we go. Well, folks, this is what you call a slight hiccup in the podcast. So I'm going to continue reading, I guess, where he left off. Adam, get back on here. He's picking up his headset right now. All right. You want to continue reading? Because you kind of just handed that off to me. I had no idea where you were.
Oh, my God. The thing is, it was a stupid spam call. This is the stupid thing that's been going around. So many fucking spam calls. Now I just decline any call that comes to me. If it's important, they'll leave a fucking voicemail. I'm so annoyed right now. I'm so annoyed because it messed up the beautifulness that is episode 40, Two Jersey Kids. Follow us on Twitter at Two Jersey Kids. Oh my God. It's so frustrating. It's not like we're a well-oiled machine to begin with.
We're always so smooth. No hiccups whatsoever. Yeah.
By way of the same sources that spoke to the Financial Times regarding Nintendo's efforts to sell 18 million units by the end of March 2018, they also noted that the Super Mario Odyssey is set for a November release. Given that Nintendo has confirmed that they're dedicated a major amount of time to Odyssey at E3, we'll probably get a date then anyway. Kind of, the story makes sense. It sort of touches on two things. The rumor that Super Mario Odyssey, which makes sense, coming out this fall, big Switch game that'll be coming out, new 3D Mario. And then also, they plan on selling 18 million units by March 2018. I mean, they just started kicking up more production for the Switch, so they're finally, hopefully, going to have more out there so people aren't just, like, scavenging for it. But, I mean, people have been clamoring for the Switch now, so it's doing pretty well, shockingly to us. Well, not shockingly. I kind of feel that them going in a more modern route would touch on with some people with the Nintendo's nostalgia. So, Gary, do you have any comments on this situation, this article, everything?
Well, I just feel like, I mean, if you're trying to hit your sales goals, I feel like what better way to do that if you're Nintendo than release a Super Mario game. I mean, I'm not a Nintendo Switch owner, nor would I really be attracted to the Nintendo Switch by this game in particular. But, I mean,
because you think Mario is a baby game, right?
No, it's not something that I'm going to run out and buy tomorrow because, oh my God, Super Mario is coming out. The world must stop so I can play this game. No, it's going to release. It's going to do really well. And I think they're going to reach the sales goals that they want because it's just such a huge franchise.
Agreed. Moving on.
Yeah.
I don't have much more to say. It's a rumor. It could come out. It makes sense. That's about it. Moving on. There was a sort of a leak that was officially confirmed about the PlayStation Plus lineup for June. PlayStation Universe sort of writes a brief, sum it up article by Adam Byrne. That basically in June 2017, Life is Strange and zombie shooter Killing Floor 2 will be coming out. I don't know about you, Gary. I remember mentioning Killing Floor 2 back when we did the games releasing, and it looked like a fascinating like zombie shooter kind of like co-op, kind of like dungeon crawler type deal where you're fighting through zombies and you get to the bosses at the end. Feels like it could be a very good co-op game that you can get for free in June. And also Life is Strange has been a critically acclaimed episodic game. I think it says like 5 or 6 episodes that people have really loved, and they're excited for Life is Strange 2. So I'm excited to actually check out Life is Strange for free June 2017, the episodic adventure that is. Maybe I'll check it out with like some of my friends. Maybe Marta will come and we can play and go through it. It'll be exciting.
Yeah, and Killing Floor looks pretty cool too, especially. I know you've been criticizing me because I've been whining about how I have no games to play, but it's something that looks pretty cool. It looks like something I can kind of just sit back and chill and shoot shit around. So
because it's first-person shooter, because you're a bro shooter to the very core. Am I
Drive
right?
a big pickup truck, chew tobacco. Yeah. I need a game that just kind of lives up to my manliness. Yeah, just such a bro.
Oh my goodness gracious! Great balls of fire. Oh, I gotta, don't run ad block on this page. Mm-hmm.
This is great.
This has been a fantastic show. If you guys thought that it was going to be anything different for episode 40 as a somewhat of a milestone, you are damn wrong. Moving on. Pokéland is yet another new Pokemon mobile game. Tom Phillips over at Your Gamer writes, there's yet another new Pokemon game coming to iOS and Android smartphones, Pokéland, a mobile version of a long-running spin-off series, Pokemon Rumble. Anyone familiar with Pokemon Rumble will recognize Pokélands immediately. It has the same art style and RPG brawler gameplay as the Wii, 3DS, and Wii U games. As you expect, the app will be free to play. Unlike the other Pokemon mobile games, Pokéland is notable for being tied into Nintendo's own account system, so you can use your Mii character within the game. Gary, I sort of pointed this out. It looks like it's going to have a Japan release soon. It seems like Nintendo is starting to roll into the mobile game market, which they're probably seeing that there is a good avenue for another slew for their revenue. Each quarter is the mobile game market that everybody can then hop into these simplistic Pokemon, Nintendo games, Mario, Zelda, all that jazz. But another thing that's key is that they're actually, for the first time, I think, a Pokemon game, they're connecting Nintendo's own account system. That's what it says there. So it gives you more inclination that Nintendo is now diving more and more into the mobile space, which I feel like is smart on their part because everyone knows Nintendo's franchise.
Yeah, and they always seem to, with like the Game Boy and everything, they sold really well with those kind of mobile games. Obviously, the Nintendo Switch is like that hybrid console you can take on the go. So what the hell? What was it? Pokemon Go did really well, obviously. Did extraordinarily well, not just really well. So
so
keep going
did Super
to the well.
Mario Run.
Yeah.
Moving on! Staffordshire University launches the UK's first esports degree. Christopher Dring over at Games Industry. Biz. Staffordshire University will run a degree course for esports. The BA esports course will look at the business and cultural aspects of professional gaming. It's all part of the university's video game initiatives, which includes expansion of its gaming facility at its Stoke-on-Trent campus. The degree starts in September 2018 and follows other international esports degrees, including one from the University of Nevada. Didn't even know Nevada had that, although that one is more specifically linked to the casino industry. Rachel Growers, the academic dean for recruitment in the business school from the University of Stratford, said, quote, over 73% of those employed within esports are under the age of 35, and their skills are in demand. Companies are looking for people who are entrepreneurial, tech-savvy, and the industry is driving the creation of new jobs. The course focuses on the business and culture of esports, from developing teams, communities, and a fan base to hosting esports events. All students will get to visit an esports arena, and we are also offering a number of exciting scholarship opportunities for competitive players, end quote. The UK course is a response to the trade body UKIE's recent white paper into esports. Quote, the module, which is available to students on our game studies course, is a fascinating branch of cultural studies. Said Dr. Bobby Fletcher. He continues, quote, looks at the national and international market for esports and the cultural aspects that drive it, as well as the darker side of cheating and doping by esports players. Game designers are growing up, and that brings with it new trends of gaming, which comes with its own sets of ethical dilemmas. Plans to grow the UK as an esports hub brings huge opportunities in job creation, and we are well placed as a university to explore that. Universities are seeing significantly greater number of attendees at open days in these subject areas because games are big industries, and parents and teachers no longer try to steer prospective students away from degree courses. Parents are the generation that have grown up playing computer games, and there's now acknowledgement that it is a viable career route. I have some thoughts, but I want to get your thoughts on this first, Gary.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know we talked about this in the past. I wasn't too keen on the whole scholarships being handed out to people playing esports. You know, I know that's crazy. I'm on a gaming podcast, and I'm sort of like iffy about that. But in terms of this type of degree, I kind of understand when I have it laid out in front of me. I can read about it. It kind of makes sense to me. I mean, I kind of like how this esports degree is kind of like almost like a business degree. You're looking at the business aspects of esports. It's like they say, where do they say it right here in this article? That the course basically focuses on the business and culture of esports, from developing teams, communities, and a fan base to hosting esports events. So, I mean, it isn't just, okay, we're going to play games and we're going to make a career off it. You're actually learning about the business aspects and how to, basically, I guess, build, yourself, build your brand, but also, work with a team, build that team up, and also, I guess make a business out of it in the end. So, I think it's pretty interesting. It's an interesting development, and obviously it's new. You may see more of this over time. I don't know. Maybe Rutgers will have it eventually. Maryland, who knows?
Maybe
it's going to happen eventually. I mean, it's just a matter of time.
Maybe you'll start seeing where if you go down the business route, this will be a side elective or tech elect that you can add on to your degree, or maybe it'll just be a main focus, esports in general. It is interesting that they're now touching on the business and management, I guess, style for esports or games in general. Because it does make sense now that adults, parents have grown up with games, and they realize that they're not as bad as it seems. So they can push their kids if they're interested in that direction, because you're also learning certain skills that's not just gaming in itself. You can learn important things that you can sell yourself when you go to just a generic normal job in the business. Or, for example, but like if you go into the game design route, there's different avenues of game design like that you can do for programming or graphic arts or all of that. And you work on the programming side, you can work on the game engine side where you're designing the software, or you're artistic and you're able to create these levels, and you have different avenues for where you can go with that. It's not just one specific realm, which is, I feel like, what people would be turned off looking in, the main thing is that they'd be afraid that, oh, you have to go into the gaming industry, and I'm not sure if that's a great avenue, even though you're now seeing that esports is bringing gigantic revenue. It's bringing more and more audience to each and every day, and now you're seeing maybe this is a viable industry, as in, like, if you're in sports management, or if you have a business focusing more on, statistics and sports side, like things like that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And not to mention, the thing with like Twitch streamers, like if you ever watch them, it isn't just like sitting down and playing a video game. There's a lot of other stuff going on there, communicating with fans and kind of relating to fans, but also basically marketing yourself, because obviously people are coming to your channel to watch you. So I think that this degree kind of ties into that as well. Like I said, you're learning that business aspect and the business side of things, and you can apply it to something that's either, like a real world situation, out there. So I think it's a good thing. I don't know. It's interesting.
I do too.
Maybe I should go back to college for an esports degree. I don't know.
I honestly thought this would annoy you, but I mean, it does make more sense because it's not like somebody going for a scholarship to play a video game. This is more, they're actually working towards a degree.
It's different.
They're putting time and effort into learning. But it is also cool that now this is a young industry that they're trying to grow, and they're saying that the faculty that work there are under the age of 35, which shows you how new it is and how exciting, I guess, it could be, the possibilities going forward with, like, maybe the NBA 2K system or 2K league takes off, and then you have other leagues that are mirroring that or pairing that with soccer, like MLS or FIFA. Or not FIFA, but, the Premier Leagues, or you have Madden becoming more of a thing than just like the Madden tournament that you see every year. So it's definitely kind of cool to see this from what we were when we were little kids, this being like sort of frowned upon, or
wasn't even thought of, really.
Yeah, exactly. You don't think of like, oh yeah, I want to be, like, you say you want to play games as like a job, or you want to be a game designer, and people like scoff at you like, that's not going to be a thing. And now you look and you see fucking League of Legends or Dota or Overwatch or Call of Duty are raking in, or Counter-Strike, sorry if people get upset if I forget that one, are raking in like money just watching tournaments and people play online and Twitch stream, and it's just, it's fucking amazing now coming from where we came. It's awesome.
Yeah, and it's only going to get bigger too. It's like I just said. I mean, you're going to see a lot more of these courses and degrees, I think, pop up in major universities in the United States as well. So I think it's only a matter of time, really.
Yeah, and yeah, I think so too. I agree. I concur. I believe you, Gary. Moving on.
It's good to know.
Moving on. Supergiant Games has finally, I think, officially announced when their game is coming out. I think it's July 25th for PS4 and PC. Eurogamer gives them a brief synopsis, or Jeffrey Matouf over Eurogamer gave us a nice little write-up of what Pyre is and why I'm not sure if I'm excited about it, but they've made two great games, Transistor and Bastion, that I would give this a chance. He writes, not quote, you know what I mean. He writes, Pyre is a fantastical game about a caravan of exiles seeking to return to their home by performing a series of competitive rituals, pitting them against fellow nomads. This transpires through a group sport in which three characters compete against a team of AIs, I think that's AIs, with the goal being to transport an orb into your Pyre on the opponent's turf. It's a lot like footy, actually, only with more shooting and jumping. I'm guessing, is that soccer, Gary? Is footy soccer? I'm out of my realm here, Gary. I'm out of my realm.
Keep going. I'm not really sure.
That's only half the game. However, as the rest of Pyre is a piece of interactive fiction in which players must make decisions about which route to take, resources to exhaust, currency to spend, and how to interact with the colorful characters you meet along the way. Think of it as a globetrotting of 80s days, or the non-dungeon crawling bits of Persona. Pyre won't have a proper failsafe, so if you lose too many rituals or make an abundance of questionable decisions, the game will not stop dead in its tracks. You'll face hardships for sure, and your fate may not be as fortunate, but dusting oneself off in the face of defeat and continuing to fight is core of Prime's theme of endlessly moving forward. While Pyre's focus will be on its single-player campaign, there will be 1 versus 1 local competitive mode should you want to face off against a friend or AI. They don't mention multiplayer. That's kind of interesting that this is going to be, kind of like a sport aspect of you competing, trying to score, basically going from one end to another. But there's going to be no multiplayer aspect behind it, which I feel like that could be an avenue that they miss out on. Maybe they just don't mention here. I would have to look it up, but I mean, Rocket League is such a huge thing. This seems like it could be like getting into another like competitive multiplayer aspect that because Supergiant makes very tight controlling games, and I feel like this could be another one that just people just enjoy. They make fun games. So, what are your thoughts?
Keep in mind, it's also 2017, and they could release the multiplayer later on, because why do it all in one shot, right? I mean, why would we do that nowadays? But I think the game looks pretty cool, though. I mean, I'm not sure if I'll play it or not, but I mean, honestly, though, for the price point, I mean, it's only $17.99. It's dollars, by the way, for people that aren't aware. But I mean, it's it's relatively cheap for a game that looks to be pretty promising. And I see a lot of people down, at least in the comment section, enjoyed their previous games like Bastion and Transistor. So check it out, folks.
Yeah. That's moving on. Apparently there was a teaser picture released by EA talking about the next Need for Speed, and it's a bright picture that kind of looks like clouds. They changed the brightness. It's going to be in Seattle, but I kind of want to just more touch on the idea of now Need for Speed making a comeback. It's been gone for a while, which I feel like certain franchises definitely need. I feel like Assassin's Creed being one of them. You need time to take back, analyze what you want out of this franchise, what you want to accomplish, what you want to, what type of game is it going to be. Is it more realistic street racing, or is it going to be more crazy, outrageous street racing that certain Need for Speeds sometimes hit? I don't know. I haven't touched on a Need for Speed. I haven't played a Need for Speed game in a while, since like Need for Speed Carbon, I believe it was, which is a long time ago. And I remember younger, I used to be a huge fan of Need for Speed. First one was Need for Speed Most Wanted 2, then it was Need for Speed Underground and Underground 2, which was my shit. Customizing the crap out of the cards, having neon lights flying everywhere. It was fantastic. Need for Speed Most Wanted, also a fantastic game showing off the next gen of the 360. So it's interesting to see how this is going to play. Gary, what are your thoughts on Need for Speed returning?
Well, I mean, I really enjoyed. So for me, like, I've never been a big racing fan of game. I don't know. I had a lot of racing games growing up, and I don't know, I was a little kid, so kind of just like doing my own thing in the games, never really actually raced. But with Need for Speed Most Wanted, I really enjoyed the hell out of that game. I think because it had like a good story, but also it was kind of like an open world thing where you can drive around, screw around, and customize your car and stuff like that. I don't know, I had a great time with that. So I think the thing with Need for Speed, I don't know about you, but I feel like it kind of, how do I put this? I don't know. It kind of appeals to like not like hardcore racing fans. You know what I'm saying? Like Forza, I feel like is like a pure racing game, but Need for Speed is kind of like, but I feel like Need for Speed kind of is a little more. It just appeals to like a different audience. Yeah, it appeals to like more of a mass audience, whereas Forza is obviously catered to like a racing fan. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, we don't really know a lot about the new Need for Speed game, so it's kind of hard to say whether or not it's going to be different than their previous games, but something to keep an eye on.
Are you excited about it? That's basically what I'm trying to get at. With a new Need for Speed game that touches on all the things you enjoy about past Need for Speeds, would you get excited?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it had elements maybe from like Most Wanted or something like that, yeah, I would give it a look for sure.
You know what game I really want to come back is Burnout. That was a solid game. Burnout 3. Fucking amazing. People behind
I remember
Burnout,
you watching that game. Or watching you play that game.
People behind Burnout actually made a game called Danger Zone, which is basically the Burnout crash mode, which was also I loved in Burnout, and apparently it's doing really well review wise. So yeah, check it out. I haven't checked it out yet. Moving on, Final Fantasy VII Remake has been moved to an in-house studio at Square Enix. Tom Phillips over at Your Gamer writes, they moved the Final Fantasy VII Remake from the external developer CyberConnect 2 to its in-house team. The remake was announced during Sony's E3 2015 press conference, but there's been not that much information 2 years later. The decision to take away take development away from CyberConnect 2 is a, quote, sensitive subject, end quote. Square Enix Nakui Hamaguchi explained in a recent developer stream, translated by Kotaku. CyberConnect 2 is the studio behind the long-running Naruto series of games, as well as Dot Hacked and Azura's Wrath. Quote, I've taken over the development side of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, Hamaguchi continues saying, quote, up until now, development has progressed by receiving external collaboration, but from here on out, with production and quality in mind, we're shifting to our in-house organization. This company decision was made wanting to control quality as well as keeping the schedule stable. No further details were given. Must be a fucking gigantic schedule since it's 2 years and still no more information about Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I'm honestly getting the feeling I've honestly lost trust of Square Enix in-house development team. Final Fantasy 15 took 10 years to make. Kingdom Hearts 3 was announced way back when. Still nothing on Kingdom Hearts 3. They've announced Final Fantasy 7 Remake. I don't plan on seeing it anytime soon.
Yeah, and it looks like a lot of people have given up on the fact that it'll ever be released, at least looking at the comments section, so kind of bleak.
Yeah. Sorry to all those Final Fantasy fans out there. It may be 10 years until you get Final Fantasy VII Remake. Sorry, Allison.
I was just going to say, somewhere Allison Lodato is crying.
Moving on. PlayStation 3 production has finally ended in Japan. It's kind of sad. Sal Romano at Gamasutra. Gamasutra? I don't know how to say this website. It says, the official Japanese website revealed the page for the 500 gigabyte standard model, the only remaining PlayStation 3 model in production in Japan, lists the shipments as ended. It is a sad day for PlayStation fans like you, Gary, who, was with PS3, and you and me, honestly, was with PS3 through thick and thin, even though I didn't play it as much until later on, but, You got a little bit of a different experience, though, because you were there from basically the day it started. I remember I had an Xbox 360 when that first came out. I never owned a PlayStation 3 until around like 2009. But I remember you always saying how like PS3 just got off to a terrible start. Yeah, it was awful. Said you needed to get a second job to pay for the console.
That's true, man. It wasn't like $500 for that thing.
It was like $600. It was insane.
Jesus, God. Yeah.
I looked at my mom insanely as she purchased that. I just wanted the 360.
Dude, I would have been like, okay, sure, fine.
Yeah, I took it because I was a little kid. I'm like, okay, I'm not complaining. But yeah, since it's kind of sad. We have plenty of memories playing on PS3, Call of Duty, and all that. Me and you, Gary, and then I wanted to look at sort of Kotaku way back in 2013, sort of putting together the 12 launch titles for PS3 way back when, with pictures. So I wanted to go through certain ones. You have Blazing Angel Squadrons World War II. Looks like a solid game. I didn't play all of them. So Call of Duty 3, that's one I played. I think I played it on 360 though. It was the final one before they jumped into not the final one, but a solid game that introduced the gameplay mode war. Fantastic. You see that nowadays where it's kind of the push and pull, controlling certain areas, and you try to progress all the way to the opponent's basically base towards the end, keep capturing it and pushing more and more. So it was kind of like a tug of war type deal. What are your thoughts, Gary?
COD 3 here, was that the first Call of Duty game on the next generation console?
Call of Duty 2 was the first one.
Okay. Because I remember, it's the strangest thing. It's so bizarre, but the one thing I remember from the
Call
shift...
of Duty 2 was Xbox 360 when it first came out.
Okay, that's what I was... Okay, yeah, I remember playing that over a friend's house, and it's so weird, but the one thing I remember vividly when it basically transitioned over to next gen is the smoke effects in the game. Like that was the first thing I remember seeing. I was like, holy shit. Cause like, it just looks so good. It looks so real compared to what you're used to seeing on like Xbox and like obviously earlier generations of consoles. Like it just kind of blew my mind, but it was just a small thing. I don't know why it like stuck with me all these years later. But.
It's true. Those smoke effects were the bomb. Then you have Genji Days of Blade. Game I never played. Looks like a sort of an RPG style. Interesting picture. Madden NFL 7. Look at those graphics compared to nowadays. Whoo, doctor. It's
They were
crazy.
amazing back then.
They
amazing.
were awesome. It was moving on from through PS2 and Xbox 2, 360, and PS3. I remember to this day how drastic the gameplay mode changes. How in Xbox and because I think Madden NFL 07 was also on PS2 and Xbox. But the gameplay mode felt so much more arcadey on those old systems. It was like top-down more. You can juke like crazy. You can basically run forward and backwards and run at the same speed. Whereas this now, it's more closer to the player. It felt a little bit slower, more quote-unquote sluggish, which is now the generic thing for Madden. It was a change of pace, that's for sure. Something I was not expecting from Madden. Then you have Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I remember playing this game. I remember really enjoying this game. I don't remember if I played it for PS3 or 360. Either way, good launch, good top-down isometric perspective Marvel game. One of the few, in my opinion, good superhero games back then. Then you have Mobile Suit Gundam. Oh man, that's a game I never played. NBA 2K7. I feel like this was the rise of the NBA 2K franchise. I think it was 2K8 where it finally hit the peak of like popularity because NBA Live used to be so much better on the old systems, and they just never could compete. Then you have NHL 2K7. I remember playing this game with you.
I was just going to say this. It's funny how you mentioned so NBA. Okay, went from being like the underdog, and then eventually rising and overtaking EA, and then NHL 2K on the other hand was like pretty good. I felt like it actually outdid EA. Yeah, it outdid EA in a lot of ways. A lot of people preferred that over EA's version, but then it just completely collapsed. Like I think it was NHL 2K8 or 2K9 that just all of a sudden really started to suck, and EA just took over and blew them away. And they're not even making hockey games anymore, so it's really, really interesting.
Then the best launch title, in my opinion, for PS3 is Resistance: Fall of Man. That was a huge title, I think, for PlayStation. It was their first-person shooter, even though I know they wanted Killzone to be their Halo, but I felt like Resistance was a better game than the Killzone games. It told a better story. I love this game. I loved fighting off against Chimera, the new interesting weapons that they put through. You had just things that could shoot through walls, different like special abilities with the guns themselves. Fond memories of playing this game. I remember fighting that crazy spider creature that they're showing in one of the pictures. Yeah,
I never got a chance to play the original, but I actually played. I played the second game. That was like my introduction to the whole. Yeah, well, it was basically like my introduction to the whole online shooting or the online multiplayer.
And you never looked back. You became a bro shooter from then.
Yeah, instant love.
Ridge Racer 7, never played that, so I can't comment. Tiger Woods, PGA Tour 07. Oh, Tiger, how you have fallen.
Yeah, let's not get into that.
Arrested for a DUI, but he may actually been on drugs. But I mean, it could have been prescription. Who knows? Then you have Tony Hawk's Project 8. Another fall from grace, that is the Tony Hawk franchise. I didn't think Project 8 was that bad, but comparatively to what they were before, just sad fall from the Tony Hawk franchise, and then they the most recent one was just a complete bust. My favorite one is Underground in this Tony Hawk franchise. Create your own character, go through the story mode. I just remember doing a McTwist over a helicopter. That was fantastic.
I never completed the story in that game, but I remember playing that a lot. And I wasn't even like really a skateboarding fan, but didn't you start off in New Jersey?
Yep.
I think that was the most mind-blowing thing to me. I'm like, oh my God, we're in New Jersey. This is insane.
This is the first time I think you could also hop off a board was Tony Hawk Underground. You could hop off the board and run around.
That's true. Yeah.
The reason it took me so long to beat Tony Hawk Underground is the quote-unquote final boss where you basically take down Eric, that fucking douchebag who took your popularity because he would do insane combos, and you had to follow him all the way through it without like falling or messing up or getting too far behind. It was nuts. It took me a while to finally beat that. But moving on, Call of Duty 4 Remaster getting a standalone release? ? Eddie Machuch over at GameSpot writes, earlier this year, retailer Gamefly posted a product page for a standalone version of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Remaster, and now Amazon has followed with its own page for it. Charlie Intel reports that Amazon Japan posted a product page for the game, saying it would launch on June 20th for PlayStation 4 with a launch for Xbox One to come on July 20th. Oh, that's interesting. A PC version will also seems likely, though noting at all is confirmed at this stage. Nothing at all. Noting. What the fuck am I saying? June 20th is the same date that the GameFly posted. The month-long gap is kind of interesting. Gary, they're finally going to release a standalone Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare remastered, which seems like it's a little too late. I mean,
it's a cash grab.
They brought it back with the digital a deluxe edition for what was it, Infinite Warfare, but they never released it standalone, which was kind of weird and strange. But now they're doing it. They're doing it now, even though they're going to have another Call of Duty come out. I guess it's going to be the modern Call of Duty shooter, when they release it now, a World War II shooter. Strange.
It's on purpose. I mean, they got their sales. You know, a lot of people bought Call of Duty 4 or a lot of people bought Infinite Warfare for Call of Duty 4. They didn't really give a damn about Infinite Warfare. So why not just release this standalone now and make more money? Because now people that weren't going to buy both games are now just going to buy the standalone. So it's basically, Activision. I don't know if they must not really care about the public opinion, because I feel like a lot of people hate. No, seriously, a lot of people hate them because they think they're cash grabbing, cash.
Well, they are.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, granted, look, I have nothing wrong.
They're trying to make money.
Exactly.
I respect their horrible decisions of releasing games every year. I respect it. It takes some balls, but still.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I'm not going to take anything away from them trying to make money, but at the same time, it's like, I think they just kind of embrace the whole cash grabbing business model. So, that's exactly what it is. Kudos.
Moving on. Monster Hunter Switch, and Monster Hunter is headed to Switch apparently. Monster Hunter XX is coming to the Switch. I really wanted to touch on this mainly because also it seems like people always put singular articles about games coming to the Switch, so highlighting more, bring more views to the Switch, and I have already made my rant about that. But this is big, I feel like, because it's the first Monster Hunter game that's coming to the Switch, and people love Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter is a huge franchise that people adore. They love the aspect of going around chopping up monsters, collecting the things from it, and building up your better weapons and better armor. Kind of what I like about the Surge is chopping off certain people's arms and legs and getting the materials from that, and then crafting, upgrading your weapons and armor. But this is on the nth degree when the Surge is not nearly as high. Gary, I don't think you have any thoughts on that. So as I load the next article, what do you have to say? How do you feel this episode's going so far?
I feel it's pretty good. I mean, look, the news stories this week aren't exactly as juicy as they have been previously, I don't think. I mean, that's just my thoughts personally.
I feel like it's the lull before E3 that's coming around, which is insane that E3 is almost here. This is exciting. This is kind of cute. This is going to be our first E3 as a podcast, video game podcast. Whoop whoop!
We're only a couple months away from that. Well, actually, no. It would be, once June hits, or tomorrow, basically, it'll be a couple months away from
episode
our
50.
Year anniversary, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, episode 52, which would be a year. Duh.
Yeah.
That's how weeks work. But yeah, we'll talk more about it at the end of the episode. But I wanted to get into this article that was written by James Batchelor. I think that's how you say his last name. I don't know. Over at GameIndustry.biz. More than half of young online gamers are being bullied. 1 in 2 gamers have been bullied by other players during an online gaming session. That's according to a new survey conducted by Ditch the Label, a leading anti-bully charity, and a game-like social platform Habu. The two firms questioned 2,515 people last week, mostly between the ages of 12 and 25, with a relatively balanced gender split: 48% female, 46% male, 3% transgender, and 3% other. Don't know what other is. Are they just Ken dolls with nothing down there? Is that what the other is?
Let's just not even discuss that one.
Okay. The study found that 57% of participants have been bullied during an online game, while another 64% have been trolled. Another 57% have been subject to hate speech, while 47% had received threats from other users, and 34% had seen their personal information shared via an online game. 1 in 5 respondents have actually quit an online game because of this bullying. One participant is quoted as saying, quote, "I had to leave a game since I was bullied by a group of 6 or even 7 guys, and it was really terrible. I've been depressed for a long time, and I couldn't really play without being insulted," end quote. In a video piece for the BBC, young online gamer Bailey Mitchell said, quote, "You can't just go around calling people whatever you want in real life, so why is that not the same rule when you're playing online? If I'm playing a game and I score a goal, I've literally been told to kill myself. You report somebody for saying something abusive to you, and 9 times out of 10, they're not going to have anything happen to them," end quote. Later in the video, Ditch the Label CEO Liam Hackett added, quote, "We're finding kids are telling us it's giving them depression. It's made them feel anxious. It's affected how they see themselves. We find that kids, as a result of being bullied in games, are actually going to bully others users as well, as a way of trying to deal with the trauma," end quote. Sure enough, the report showed 20% of participants have resorted to bullying other players themselves, while 72% reported incidents of bullying to the companies running the games they played. Multiple respondents agree with Mitchell that doing so never results in punishment for the perpetrators. In fact, 74% believe bullying in other online games needs to be taken more seriously. More than half of those surveyed believe extra human moderation is the answer. Just under half point to better anti-bully advice in-game, more reporting and blocking features, and rewards for taking a stand against bullies. Only 21% believe automatic moderation will solve the issue. Almost every major blockbuster game today centers around online multiplayer function with an inherent voice chat. It's becoming increasingly important to manage these communities more effectively. The cost and the resources required for human moderation is no doubt something publishers have trouble sourcing in order to meet the expectations those surveyed. Nevertheless, this is clearly an issue that needs to be solved. Gary, I want to just get your thoughts right away on this, because I wonder if it's going to be interesting.
All right. Well, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of a tough situation. So, I mean, as a person that has been bullied, I mean, I was bullied in real life, where I couldn't actually just quit and leave the situation like people that get bullied online can. So I know what it's like to be bullied. I know it sucks, but at the same time, like, I'm not really sure if it's something that can be solved. I mean, I understand online it's a little bit different. You know, online you can obviously, I guess, gaming companies, like they were saying, could install more blocking features. They could have better reporting features or moderators that go in and can, sort of monitor the situation. That's good and all. I just don't know if it's really going to be something that's stopped anytime soon. I think it's just, you're always going to have those people out there that are shitty people that want to hurt others. They're going to be assholes. It's just the reality of the situation. And I think that either, I've had people say shit to me online. I don't really care personally. I usually laugh at them because they're worthless human beings. But I feel like this is definitely an issue. I know you can say it's difficult to solve. It obviously is, and there needs to be routes taken to solve this issue. You can't just say it's really difficult to solve and just go from there and just say there's no response to it. Well, see, I mean, you can work as hard as you want. It's just it's never going to go away.
It's never going to go away. That's obvious.
You can make it better. Yeah, I mean, you can make it better online, especially online. That's like what I'm saying is, if you want to improve, the communities online, you can definitely take steps to do that. It's much easier, I think, or, well, not easier, I guess, in terms of like programming and shit like that, but it's much easier to monitor an online community than it is to monitor the real world. You can't have cameras on people 24/7 saying you can't do that. You can't say those words. It's just.
Yeah. I mean, this is just, though, on the online aspect, and that's why I feel like it's important, because I feel like the 1 in 2 feel like they're being bullied is too high, and also the issue is that they now take it out on other people, with is the 20% then start bullying other people. It's not really learning from, treat others how you want to be treated. That's an issue, and I feel like there's definitely needs to be online, there needs to be more moderation, I guess, and reporting. Just saying that they bully you is not a big thing. I really wish that there are some consequences to not the things you say, I guess, in the moment, but I mean, well, I guess that too, but I mean, also there should be at least moderation when it comes to messages that are being sent. You should be able to say, report this message, send the full message to whoever's moderating it, and they're able to see and listen, and you can report there should be more blocking features. I mean, I can completely understand where people are coming from, especially in teenagers when they're young and they're more impressionable, and depression becomes more of a easier thing to happen to them way back when they're young like that. So any sort of, you see cyberbullying is a huge thing, and this is a case of cyberbullying, and you can see the effects of cyberbullying is that if you have a bully that's persistent and doesn't stop, even if you leave the game, and sending you messages and even reporting them doesn't do anything, that can still, no matter what, even if they block them and it doesn't, they can't say anything anymore, the original message comes to that person. The original message hits that person and it makes them think. And the issue with depression is one's own mind, I guess, because I've had bouts of depression, and it's not, there are effects on the outside world that can affect you, but it's also your own brain, like the way you think, and the fact that somebody on the outside is saying something and it hits you in a certain way, that is going to be an issue. And I feel like they need to take more stand. You need to have consequences for the actions, because like you said, in the real world, if I went up to you and just started calling you like crazy names, insulted your family, insulted your mom, insulted your dad, went nuts, you're going to punch me in the face. It's really obvious.
Well, see, that's the thing though. They asked that question in the article. You can't go around calling people what you want in real life. Well, obviously. That's why, see, that's the thing. Video games are like, they're the perfect place for toxic people to hide, because you can hide behind a keyboard, you can hide behind a screen, you can hide behind a controller. There's no consequences to anything. I've known plenty of people that have played that play video games now that have said really fucked up things to people online, and then in turn have had the same thing said back to them. But there's no consequences. There's reporting features, but they never seem to actually work. They don't really do anything. You can report people for like, oh, they said bad things to me, whatever, but nothing ever really seems to happen. So that, it's like I said, I think that is something that needs to be improved, but it's going to be really hard, I think, to like eradicate that sort of behavior from the online atmosphere.
You can't
online
ever
community.
100% eradicate any type of issue. The best you can do is reduce it. The best you can do is take the 1 in 5 or 1 in 2 and reduce it to 1 in 5. And then take that and reduce it to 1 in 10. And take that and reduce it to 1 in 100. But you're never going to completely reduce it. I think it starts, in certain, especially large games like Dota. That's such a toxic game, especially when you're a new player and you F up. People are going to come at you and say you're awful and garbage and just straight up
Rocket
crap.
League.
Yeah,
I've seen so I played Rocket League for a little bit back in, I guess, last summer, and I haven't really played it since. But my brother-in-law plays that game now, along with his brother-in-law, and they were playing it the other day, and they were just getting beaten. They were playing doubles, so they were playing 2 other dudes, and they were getting beaten. They're new players to the game. They're not really taking it too seriously, but these guys are, and they're like, "Oh, you're trash. You're not get better. It's too easy." It's like, why? Why do people have to be just such assholes all the time? It's a video game. You're really not that awesome at all, and it's a video game. To stop, you shouldn't have an ego this big from a video game. I'm sorry. It's just completely ridiculous.
Yeah. I remember the shit we used to say, but it wasn't really directed at anybody. We were just more talking about
don't get
ourselves.
me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I think everybody out there, anyone that was 13, which was everybody at one time, we've all said pretty messed up things online, because that's just the nature of the beast. You're an ass. Let's actually put this out there. Middle schoolers and teenagers are really shitty people.
Yep.
And go to any Call of Duty lobby right now and you'll see that. Mm-hmm. Although I have to say, I haven't played Call of Duty in a long time, so I can't say if it's still the same, but it is, I'm sure.
It kind of is an interesting thing how it feels like if this continues, it just keeps going this way, and people don't want to interact with lobbies in certain games. I feel like you're not going to have. It's going to be, you're going to have to meet up with friends, or you're just not going to play with a mic on and just not hear the chat. It's not like what it felt like when I was younger, where you could actually go into a chat and talk to somebody that's actually pretty cool, because you're not talking shit. It's going to now have to interact in party chat with your friends while you're playing, and not, meeting some random stranger. I feel like it's going to reduce that aspect of an online game itself.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I remember I think you play with me too. Back in Resistance 2, there was co-op, and that was always pretty fun. Like you would do like certain missions. That was a great time, and I remember playing with random people, and they were always really helpful, really polite. I never had a problem with that game, but however, when I play Destiny, for example, and go through raids and stuff, I typically avoid raids. Like it's something I never really take part in that much. I mean, I've done them, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 times throughout my 3 years of playing. And I don't know. I have a hard time sometimes jumping into a party, even if I have 5 of my friends, we need one random person. It's still like, what's that one random person going to be like? Are they going to be an asshole? Are they going to think they're better than everybody else? It's just like, it's just so annoying.
That's why, like in Destiny 2, I can see where those guided games or guided play or whatever it's called can be an issue. Is that what happens if the one person that joins is also a dick? Or what happens if those 5 people with that one person are a dick to that one just person that just wants to play a raid, and they're just start insulting him, calling him a moron or noob, dick,
or worse,
or a lot worse than what I could say, because I don't want to go through a bunch of cusses. I know we are explicit, but I still don't want to subject you to my mind when it comes to cursing.
Yeah, but I mean, ultimately, it's just going to come down to the reporting system, the blocking systems. I think they need to improve. That's how you basically can change the online community. Just get those people out there, get them banned, for however long. Make certain offenses, like certain offense tiers, like your first offense you get banned for a day, second offense you get banned for a week. I mean, you just got to kind of punish these people accordingly.
If at a certain point, like at a certain ban limit, instead of limiting like the amount they can, maybe they limit the amount they can play, or limit their voice functionality completely. Treat them like toddlers if they want to act like fucking toddlers.
Completely agree.
But yeah, I hopefully that charity Ditch the Label gets back to me, because I reached out to them hoping that they'll take us an interview, maybe talk about this, discuss what they have planned, what their thoughts are, what they feel like they could do to better suit or better fix this issue. It's not just the charity, that it also requires developers to think this aspect, and requires Sony and Xbox on their part having an online system. Maybe start thinking about moderators, like you see in Reddit or their forum chats, where you have moderators that try to moderate the filth that's said on a daily basis and those things. So yeah, I mean, there's ways to, I feel like, lessen the bullying that's online, but we'll see in the future what can happen. I hope it's done, because I want some of those dicks to be taken down a notch.
Indeed.
Gary, that's all the news for this week. It was kind of somewhat small-ish, not too crazy news. It's a lull before E3. It's going to be exciting having our first, E3 podcast. Maybe in the future when we Twitch stream, we can actually Twitch stream like E3 press conference itself, give our live reactions, which would be kind of cool. Maybe when we get large, if all those people, if you're a continued listener or a new listener, you can support us and keep helping us, keep living the dream. We're not living it yet as our own job, but we're just doing this for fun, because it is fun. We love interacting with people. We love talking about games. I mean, it's basically me and Gary just talking like we always do.
Yeah, shooting the shit.
Gary, do you have anything planned this upcoming weekend? Do you have anything going on?
Well, so as I mentioned last podcast, I basically wanted to start building a computer, and I have the money to do so, but I don't really have the knowledge yet of how to put together a computer, buy all the separate parts. So that's kind of something I need to work on.
You can find that shit online.
Well, the thing is, this past weekend I was supposed to talk to my brother-in-law, Gavin, who is in IT, very familiar. He's built his own computer himself multiple times.
Gavin.
I was supposed to talk to him. Unfortunately, I had a stomach virus, couldn't get out of bed. So I have to. My plan basically is hopefully in the next week or two. He's going on vacation soon, but hopefully soon I can actually start to, I guess, lay the groundwork to finally, building my PC and kind of just start that new journey.
Process.
Yeah.
Hopping on the Steam platform, get those Steam games.
I really am excited. Like, there's just so many games I want to actually play more that I just never had the chance to do. Either my computer was too slow, or well, actually that's pretty much the only reason. My computer was always too slow for everything that comes out anymore. So I really am excited to play those games again, whether it's Civilization or SimCity or God knows what else.
Have you bought the individual parts yet for your PC?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I want to talk to Gavin basically to get an idea, because certain things have to match up. You know, you can't just buy like all these random parts and just throw them together. They have to match in certain ways, and that's just the knowledge I don't really have yet because I haven't.
Gary's tip for PC building: can't just throw parts together.
Believe it or not, you can't just buy a hard drive and stick it in the outlet and
Work.
suddenly here we go. Installs. That's basically my plan. That's the main gaming plan I have. That's like my news that I have there.
I'm excited to see if you will have more gaming news to talk about when you get a Steam or when you get a PC that can handle all the Steam games so you can play more.
It'll be fun, man. And plus I'll hopefully, my parents have already, my birthday's around the corner, June 22nd, and my parents had said they're gonna help me with my computer building quest in the source of funds. So,
oh, that's
cool.
So nice of them.
Yeah, so we'll see how I'll keep you updated with pictures and stuff on Twitter. So check it out, people. At RealScavenger18.
Nice. We haven't plugged your Twitter in a while, or mine.
Well, I got to do it eventually.
I don't think I've ever plugged my own. Or maybe I have.
No, you have.
Adam J. Buckingham. I plug Two Jersey Kids most of the time. I don't plug myself. I'm not selfish.
Well, no.
Not most of the time. But yeah, what I have planned, really, I'm finally taking a vacation. I really need one. It's been so long since I've had a legit vacation. Gary, you're going to have your own podcast episode next week. That should be exciting for all you folks out there. I'm excited to actually listen to it. I can just listen back as a fan. And yeah, going to we're going to fly to San Francisco, then Lake Tahoe, Napa Valley. It's going to be a good, relaxing time. I am ecstatic. I am so pumped. I was like so excited to leave work today somewhat early. I was just like, yes, get me out of here. Bye. Don't talk to me about work anymore. Closed. Door closed. No more work until next Thursday.
I envy you in ways that you can't even imagine. I have been wanting to go basically anywhere for the longest time. I mean, I think the last vacation we took was to Disney World, and that was my freshman year of college.
Nice.
So it's been a long time. And coming from someone that used to go on vacations pretty much every year, maybe twice a year, it sucks just not going places anymore. So
go somewhere. Take a road trip.
Yeah. Well, I need a car. So
true. You maybe instead of getting working on building your PC, maybe you should focus on the funds for your car so you can go places.
The funds for the car need to come from a new job, which is also in the works. So
yeah. All right. That has been Two Jersey Kids. And also, this is Adam and Gary's Life, apparently, episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, we appreciate you all so much. You can go follow us at Two Jersey Kids on Twitter. You can follow the podcast. We release when the episodes come out. We also, discuss certain things. Sometimes I tweet from there. It's exciting stuff. You can, find us, the podcast, on SoundCloud now. It's like the last 3 episodes are on SoundCloud. You can tune in, Stitcher, iTunes is the main one that's still apparently like 80% of people listen on iTunes, I believe. I think you can find us on a lot of Android apps, Google. So yeah, check us out. Rate us on iTunes. It would be great. It would be fantastic. I still need to figure out what I want to do for like a giveaway for people that rate us. Just because, I mean, I want ratings. Damn it! I want to get.
It has
20.
to be a gaming related gift, maybe some sort of Steam thing or Amazon or who knows.
Yeah, maybe. That's what I was thinking.
Tweet us and tell us what you want.
But that has been episode 40 of Two Jersey Kids. We appreciate you all for taking us on this, or, being here for this journey of an episode that was episode 40. I'm sorry again about my phone. Gary, you have anything to say before we go? You just want to say bye?
Well, I want to say thanks, everybody, for sticking around. And also, thanks, everyone, for the amazing support we had this month. I know I had to mention it. Just had to be done. Mm-hmm. We had record-breaking download numbers again for the 3rd straight month.
Yep.
Basically, 1,000 download increase. I think, Adam, do you know the actual download number?
Right now, I think it's like, last time I checked, it was 3,507.
Yeah. Sick.
It's pretty sweet.
We love all you great listeners out there. It's great being here. I'll see you guys again on our Tuesday episode. It'll be just me We'll see how that goes. It may go
Just
great.
you,
It may
you're
go
not
terrible.
You're not going to bring somebody on? Is this going to be just Gary in his
Gotta solo it.
sexy voice?
Yeah, going to go for it. It's going to be insane, hopefully.
I want you to do your sports announcer voice for the whole episode.
That would hurt my voice. I wouldn't even have a voice afterwards, dude. It'd be so bad.
Episode 40 and a half of Two Jersey Kids.
Yeah. I don't even know what the topic's going to be yet. That's how crazy this is going to be. So we're
Wing it.
I'm going to have to figure it out over the weekend.
Just do your ramblings. But, yeah. This has been Two Jersey Kids, episode 40. Thank you all so much for being here. Gary, say bye.
Adios.
All right, guys. Keep playing those games. We'll see ya. Well, Gary will see ya next Tuesday. Bye.